All right, training camp is here. I was there. Light day, very cloudy day, but a lot went on that field. Let's get into it in another live edition of the Locker Room.
Hey, locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too. Landlocked, got the game in the headlock. Localize every time, can't stop, won't stop. Yeah, we top two and we not too. Plugged in daily digital on YouTube. We got taste for days.
All right, we're one day in. It was a light day. It was a rainy day. We didn't know if they were going to be able to complete practice on the field. Well, they did. Not a drop of rain until after stuff wrapped up. It is the Locker Room, number one source for Texans digital content. Shout out to the people that came over from Seth Payne's channel. He said he was going to send y'all over, and I appreciate y'all for joining me. Lot to get into. Quite a few observations, quite a few sounds. All that. Be sure to subscribe, right along. We've covered camp, and by we I mean me and the people. We've been on top of it for over the better part of a decade, and that continues. And the vibes at this time around, though, very, very much different. I would say different for sure. Especially for Nick Caserio. And Nick Caserio actually started off the morning. It was a little bit darker. And Nick Caserio went to the podium. And I actually got to ask Nick Caserio, and this is where the media type does the thing where he has an opinion, and then CJ Stroud, and then you kind of throw the opinion at him, and you hope that he's going to confirm your opinion. But I asked Nick Caserio about process over results, if that still exists or what. Here was Nick Caserio talking about the old mindset of process over results and what that is now. This is courtesy of the Houston Texans YouTube.
A couple of years you talked about process over results. Obviously, expectations, all that. Does that mindset go away? Does it change? Is it a thing of the past?
No, that's a good question, Landry. I think you never kind of go away from your process. I mean, I think when you look at most successful teams and organizations and individuals, they're very process-driven and process-oriented. We understand it's a results business. I mean, we're not blind to that, but I think you have to be careful about just focusing so much on the results that you forego your process and some of the things that go into it. So it's about developing routines. It's about being consistent day to day. If you have a good process on a day-to-day basis, the hope and the goal is that leads to good results. Sometimes the process may not lead to the result that you want or hope for. Then you can go back and re-examine your process. But I'd say we're very process-oriented, very process-driven. And I think, I know how I'm that way. So it's all about your beliefs and your philosophy. But you can't have good results without good process. So you want to be consistent. And I think what we try to do across the organization, whether it's in football, whether it's in sports performance, whether other areas, have good processes in place. If they're not working maybe the way that you hope, don't be bashful to pivot and try something else, and be flexible and adaptable with your mindset. And that's what we try to do. So this year is going to be different than last year. I mean, that's the reality of it. So, but we're excited about the opportunity in front of us, and hopefully we can take advantage of our opportunities when they present themselves.
Caserio also, we'll probably get into this a little bit more, but Caserio also, he kind of shared a story about Jacoby Jones, talking about, how he scouted him in New England and all that, and gave him a shout out. I think it's interesting because the process, it's obviously different, right? Because you're further along, you have more assets, you have more talent. But I do think that, and this is always the example, if the Texans hadn't won the playoff game against the Browns, I don't know that you feel any worse about them. And because last year was such a surprise, I don't know that you completely change whatever you were trying to build. And it does feel like with CJ Stroud and Will Anderson, who we'll hear from in a second, we're going through day one observations. We'll get specific as well. I know Seth was he was right there over to my right shoulder. He was watching stuff. He has a much better eye than I when it comes to a lot of the the on-field things, but there was some stuff that stuck out that I think both of us noticed that we'll get to in a sec. But I think the process, that's about what you would expect Nick Caserio to say when it comes to the process. But that's just kind of where the Texans are at with all the excitement and whatnot. So the practice after Nick Caserio got done, he went up there at about 8:30. The first player on the field is the guy that is the longest tenured one on the field, John Weeks, friend of the show. John Weeks, he was the first guy on the field. Not really a surprise to much. He had his backpack, he had his footballs that he carries around, and he was the first guy on there. Notable absences: there was no Andrew Beck, and there was no Laramie Tunsil. Laramie Tunsil was on the side. He had that, whatever the hell that training thing is, it looks like bras that athletes wear now, that I think is just really, really doesn't seem comfortable to me. But he was on the side getting some work in. We actually saw Fisher with the ones. And it wasn't really a real physical practice. They're not in pads. So it was hard to judge, but I mean, he looks the part. It didn't look like he was completely out of place. I was paying more attention to the skill guys, and we'll get to the play of practice in the 7-on-7 in a sec. But no Laramie Tunsil, so we saw Fisher. Titus Howard was a full go. Titus Howard was out there doing his thing, moving around well at right tackle. The interior of the offensive line is interesting, and really when it comes to the eye test, when it comes to this squad, the Texans, there's the saying of, being intimidating when you get off the bus. I feel like the Texans have much more of that factor in them. And that was my next observation as they went on the field. And you can see this. You're going to see Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, just the whole squad just completely pumped up. This looks like a badass football team getting off the bus, which hasn't always been the case. But just look at this squad. I mean, look at these receivers. There's swag right there. You got Diggs. He's already excited. He's pumped. Tank Dell, Case. CJ going over there. He's going to put the pylon up. We'll go through the rest of the thing, but just, it looks like if we knew nothing about the Houston Texans, and this is always one of the things that I like to talk about whenever you're at practice. If we looked at this football team and we knew nothing about them, you would just look at them stretching and say, all right, this is probably a pretty damn good team. And I think that's the best way to describe where the Texans currently are at right now. And look, the talent speaks for itself, but it looks the part as well. You can see right here they're getting the stretches in and everything. So that is my one of my biggest things is this team just looks badass and looks like a badass squad, which hasn't been the case in the past. 2 more weeks till we see the Young Bucks in action. Really excited to see the depth we could possibly have. Yeah, Nick Caserio actually brought up that, there's going to be some guys that are going to get opportunities against Chicago that maybe wouldn't. So I anticipate that's where we see running back depth, which, speaking of the wow factor and the get off the bus, the running back, like if you just look at the running backs, it doesn't look like an overall impressive group from top to bottom. Joe Mixon looks the part. Dameon Pierce, he's definitely trimmed up. You can tell he's been working on that. I think DeMeco had kind of mentioned that as well. And then the DBs outside of Derek Stingley, it's hard to really, really look at them and just feel comfortable with the DBs. Jeff Okudah made some plays. You had Henderson playing some special teams. He was actually blocking gunners. So that was kind of an observation that Stoots picked up and pointed out to me. But the running back group and the DBs, I would say somewhat concerning. Biggest body transformation. That's always kind of the thing that you look at the first day. Like, what does the body look like? What are these guys looking like? It's very hard not to notice how much weight Will Anderson has put on. John McClain, he wasn't in the tent. We know John McClain, the general, he gets obsessed about weight body weight and all that type of stuff. He'll talk about it for damn near an hour, just going on a rant about them not putting the right weights on the roster. Will Anderson's clearly put on some weight, and he actually got specific and let the people know how much weight he has put on. Here is Will Anderson. He got real deep as well, real spiritual. But here is Will Anderson talking about how much weight he's put on.
So, yeah.
You put on some muscles off season, looks like you put on some pounds.
Yeah, I'm like, I think last year I was like 248. And about the time we got to like the Ravens game, I was just like, I just can't last. Like, I feel like I was getting tossed around. So I kind of bulked up a little this offseason, tried to keep my speed. Well, I did keep my speed. So I'm like 263 now. I feel good. Some people still say I don't even look big, so I appreciate you for that.
Well, as a finisher and in terms of having a more of a pass rush plan and things that you have at your disposal, where do you feel like you're better specifically? Where do you feel like you're better specifically in terms of finishing and having a pass rush plan, just repertoire?
Yeah, for me, I feel like that's the area I'm still working on right now.
And you can see him working. He gets to work in a lot. You can see Daniil Hunter talking to him a lot. But Will Anderson, he's clearly gained some weight. So he's up to 263. So he looks like an absolute freaking monster out there. And I think that the edge guys are going to be really, really, really solid. What are your first impressions on day one, man? And that's the whole point of this video, my friend. Appreciate you for coming through. Johnny Lambo, shout out to you, my friend. Crazy to see Case Keenum be such a backup. Davis Mills just kind of hanging around. Davis Mills, and God, we've said this before 100 times. And last year he was the backup quarterback till he wasn't, right? Davis Mills was working with the twos. And if you were just like Davis Mills, he appears to be the superior guy. Now, Case Keenum is, I don't know that the legend of Case Keenum is ever going to die, but he does feel like, he being Davis Mills, the backup, but he felt like that last year. Davis Mills also looks like he's kind of trimmed up a little bit as well. But the biggest body transformations by far have been Will Anderson and Dameon Pierce. So that's the offensive and defensive observations when it comes to that. Punt return drills. There were no, and I hope we get to see this. There was no kickoff stuff. So we didn't get to see, who would be back there returning kicks, how they would handle it. They were doing like small drills where they would line up 5 yards apart and kind of block. But as far as the actual kickoff drills, we didn't get that. We got 2 team periods. We had some 7-on-7, and then we had a couple of team periods. No touchdowns, no interceptions. So nobody has found the end zone. CJ Stroud on the second play of 7-on-7, he actually kind of overshot Nico in the corner of the end zone. Would have been a tough play, but kind of overshot him just a little bit. We'll get to the best play and the worst play in a second, but let's talk some special teams here. The third phase. We'll start with the punt return drills. There were 5 guys back for punt return drills, and I think this is going to be interesting because I feel they did not drill the new kickoff changes, not yet. I can't wait, though. We're going to get it tomorrow or Saturday, so it's going to look good. Kenyon Green looked okay. Again, they're not in pads, but you can tell that he's been lifting a lot of weights. He looked good. He was rolling with the ones. He was right there next to Fisher. Doing his thing. 135 people watching and only 45 likes. So y'all not tuned in, hit the like button. Yeah, hit the like button, please. Listen to my man SK. They're gonna get we'll get kickoff drills tomorrow or the next day. I promise you that. And come right here. I'll have the observations for sure. Safeties didn't really stick out. There wasn't anything that stuck out bad. There wasn't anything that stuck out good. Quite frankly, the only rookies that kind of caught my attention were Fisher because he was in for Tunsil, and Cade Stover because he doesn't wear gloves. Cade Stover's interesting. Him and Dalton Schultz got some work in afterwards. Cade Stover can pull off the no gloves, but I do find it wild that I think he's the only guy out there that was not wearing gloves. Lassiter, nothing really stuck out. Nothing of note. I would say the best DB today. They didn't really throw at Sting, but the best DB I would say would have been Okudah if I had to pick one. But Tank is looking. We'll get to that in a second when it comes to Tank Dell. Trust me, there was some stuff going on with him. I get the feeling the players love Diggs. You getting the same vibe? Yes. They already have handshakes. He's already kind of the guy pumping them up. They all kind of gravitate toward him. When he's on the side, Stephon Diggs is like the loudest guy cheering for his teammates, whether it's Noah Brown, Hutchinson had a catch on the sideline for like a moderate gain. Diggs is already one of the alphas of this squad. And I always do this. And the reason is because I think it makes the observations more valid. If you just walked in, and I'm going to say this 100 times during camp, so just bear with me. There's a method to the madness. But if you just walked into this thing, into this training camp situation, you knew nothing about the Texans, and you saw the way that Stephon Diggs was carrying himself, the way that the players and the coaches were interacting with him, you'd say, "Damn, that's one of the leaders of the squad." And that's kind of that's kind of how I would explain it. So yeah, I do get that. Are you surprised about some of the rookies already being waived? Like, no, I'm not surprised. And I heard DeMeco. DeMeco actually had an interesting quote about the rookies. He said, "We're not going to wait on you. What are you doing for us right now?" And that's just hardo stuff right there. It's not the rookies don't know anything like B.O.B. used to say. It's, hey, we expect you to do your thing. This is the NFL. You got to add some sort of value here in some way, shape, or form. Mechie was just kind of there. He was the last to leave. He went. John Weeks was the first to arrive. Mechie was the last to leave. He got some extra work on the jugs machine. Didn't look bad. Just didn't really stick out. Again, we just got one period of team. It seemed like they were kind of dumping it down a lot more. But I think Mechie's going to have a hard time making this team. I really do. Unless he's just far and away, one of their better receivers. I think with the way that this special team stuff is going, I think Steven Sims has a really good chance to make the squad. I really, really do. And with how you have to cover kicks and stuff now, I just feel like you have to be able to do something else. So am I predicting that John Mechie gets cut? No, but I think he's going to have to work his ass off to make this squad. They definitely love him though. But it'll be crazy. DeRhino, my dog Landry, we made it to Real Football, brother. Here's something on your Whataburger breakfast. What's up, class? Appreciate you. By the way, if you're going with Whataburger, you got to go with the breakfast on a bun, right? Appreciate you for sure. How worried should we be about our cornerback situation? I think we can wait before we worry. You shouldn't be any more worried if you were really concerned heading into training camp. We're a day through, and I don't think you should be any more or less confident. Like, I didn't see anything that made me feel any worse, if that makes sense. So for the punt return drills, this is what we had. We had 5 guys back there for the punt return. No kick return yet, which I think is going to be real key. I actually don't believe that Dameon Pierce is going to be a kick returner like a lot of people say. I was talking to Seth. It's funny, and I said this about the time at 6'10". Like my biggest regret was kind of getting a little bit feisty with Seth to the point where I was just kind of put off by him. If there was anything I could change about that would be it. As far as my show, I mean, I did everything I could. To be honest with you, the only way that could have changed was just kind of half-assing and not really worrying about it. So I have no regrets when it comes to that. But I found myself like picking Seth's brain more now than ever. But he said that the Dameon Pierce kick return thing is interesting because I brought up, I said, hey, don't you think we're kind of overreacting potentially to one kick return when we talk about, Dameon Pierce potentially returning kicks? And Seth said, he hasn't really gotten he hasn't really gotten an opportunity to look at the new kickoff rules. But he said if it plays out the way he feels that it's going to play out, then it's basically going to turn into basically like zone running, which is something that Dameon Pierce kind of struggled with. Oh my God. Cody Stutes, be sure to follow his channel as well. He said honey butter chicken biscuit on the breakfast on a bun. That is the ridiculous, most overrated thing in breakfast is the honey butter chicken biscuit. And that is a very Cody Stutes move, by the way. He is a Whataburger hustler. Let me tell you about this guy. This is kind of when I was at my fattest type of tale. I won't tell the whole order. I don't want to put Stutes out there too much. This dude orders fries with no salt because that means that they have to make new fries. And then he asks for a side of salt. This dude is a Whataburger hustler. The wide receiver trio, how did they look as a whole? They looked fantastic. They looked the part. Diggs, he was doing his thing. Tank Dell was doing his thing. Nico, he was doing his thing. It was really, really, really good. I don't hate the Whataburger breakfast. My old co-host did. Lopez did. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's okay. If you're going to go to Whataburger in the morning, I almost just order a burger. At that point, almost just order a burger if you can. The Whataburger finesser like a mofo. Cody Stutes is the Whataburger finesser, like, and now y'all are probably gonna all be doing this now because you think it's crazy. You didn't know that's the best way to get your fries fresh. I do that everywhere. Okay, so maybe I'm the guy. There's no middle ground when it comes to fries. Pour the fries in the bag and pour in the salt, then shake. Yeah, he probably does that. Breakfast burgers too much for me in the morning. I've digressed. But the special teams drills, this is what we had on the punt return. So we had Steven Sims, we had Tank Dell, we had Desmond King, we had Robert Woods, and we had Miles Bryant, who is number 30 in your program, number 30 on the roster. Miles Bryant. Don't know what it's going to look like on the kickoff. But it seemed, and you don't want to put too much into this, and it would make sense, but it seems like Steven Sims is the starting punt returner. I don't think they have like a order, and they're all getting the same amount of reps. They're all just kind of catching punts, but it seems like, and we did see him last time the Texans were on the football field playing a real game. The only touchdown that was scored was Steven Sims on that punt return. So it would make sense. But the punt return drills, you had Sims, Dell, King, Woods, and Miles Bryant back there catching punts. Speaking of that, the first overreaction of the 2024 season. You ready for this? We're going in the sticks, man. And ladies, I'm okay with Tank doing it situationally. I'm okay with him doing it situationally. Football players got to play football, right? Yeah, so I'm okay with it situationally. But here is my overreaction, and this is an overreaction alert. So I am very, very much. I'm high on this guy. I'm very high. I'm high on two dudes at camp. One of them I should know better. I think. But two guys I am very, very high on one day into camp. I'm on that high grade
marijuana called Kush on the streets. Did you know what that was?
No, I
Me
do.
neither.
Tommy Townsend. This is my first overreaction. Tommy Townsend has made me already forget about Cam Johnston. I have already forgotten about the Bill Burr lookalike, and I am on to Townsend. That dude had some serious hang time. And it was hard not to notice. And I don't even think he had the wind going his way. But as far as like the coffin corners and like the hang time, I've never seen hang time like that. And this is a guy who's obviously been in a Pro Bowl. He was a big weapon for the Chiefs. Tommy Townsend, let's be honest, like when it comes to punting, like it's you kind of have a decent grasp of what a guy is, right? Like some guys can go out there on offense and man, this guy looks great in practice. Some guys can go out there on defense and man, this guy looks great in practice. Man, y'all are so on to me right now. Y'all are so on to me right now. But I think y'all can at least listen to me, because I know y'all are already on me about this next one. But Tommy Townsend, I think we're going to be pretty good with Tommy Townsend at punter. I think we're there. All right, so a couple comments. It is the locker room reacting to day one of training camp. Appreciate everyone for coming through. Can Tommy Townsend kick off the ground? Don't know. And I don't want Kyemi Fairbairn having to make tackles. He gets hurt anyways. Quite frankly, I'm worried about him having to even like practice a different way of kicking off, because he misses more games than your average kicker. So I don't know if Townsend kicks off or not. I know that I think it was Butker in Kansas City before, the dude that had all the chicks mad at him. But I'm not sure if he can or not. That'll be interesting. That'll be another thing to look at with the kick return. Combo of top tier paired defense is underrated set of weapons. I would agree. Y'all said this. This is the next person I'm high on off that.
High grade marijuana called Kush on the streets. Did you know what that was?
Now I do.
Neither.
The comments are coming in. Don't say Quitteriano. I thought you were about to say Teagan. Laughing. Are you still high on Quitteriano? I didn't want to do this. I did not want to do this at all. Don't sleep on Quitteriano. I'm doing it again, okay? He was getting some work with the ones. And his combination of blocking and catching, it's better than anything they got. Just whenever it's out there, like it's a good combination. We've seen him at times. He's made plays. I know last year I thought he was going to be back. I'm doing it again. Quitteriano. And I see Cody Stutes sitting there laughing it up. I see Cody Stutes sitting there laughing it up. All you people, and I do mean you people, are laughing it up. Let it go. Let it go. I've been saying it since last year. I know, but he didn't play. I know. I'm telling you, though. His blocking's always been good, been okay. It's not great, but it's okay. But what am I comparing it to? You know, Johnny, like I'm comparing it to Dalton Schultz. I'm comparing it to Brevin Jordan. And I haven't seen Cade Stover enough to be able to throw him in there. So that's what I'm comparing it to. There's not a lot going on. But Stutes is making fun of me. But I said this. I saw Quitteriano out there getting working. And you know, there's a good chance he's hurt by the time the preseason even starts, because he can't stay healthy. But I said this to Stutes, and then after a couple of catches, Stutes looked over to me and he goes, "You know what? Quitteriano might have something." So it's easy to pile on. Just wait till Stutes goes live. I want to hear what he says about Quitteriano, because spoiler alert, Teagan Quitteriano looks the part. I'm telling you. Xavier Hutchinson, I don't know what Xavier Hutchinson exactly does. I don't know if he's going to be on this team. It's an uphill battle for him, no doubt. But we'll see how it goes with Quitteriano. But yes, I did not plan on doing this. I did not plan on saying this, but it did happen. Teagan Quitteriano, I'm back. I'm back for sure. Hell no, I'm not cutting Brevin. By the way, Brevin looks like he's in shape too. They were putting him in the slot a little bit. Brevin Jordan's not going anywhere. He's going to be here. He's going to be kind of a hybrid. They might keep 4 tight ends. I mean, it's especially if they can move them around. By the way, Jerry Harrison back as well. He was working with the 2s. Good to see him back. That was kind of unfortunate last year when he went down. But he's back. But we'll see how these guys move around. But yeah, Quitteriano not quitting him as of right now. So overreaction alert number 1. Tommy Townsend. Bye-bye, Cam Johnston. I don't miss you. Overreaction number 2. This is the remix to the remix. Tegan Quintariano, look out. So those are my 2 overreactions. I have the right to change my mind because, as one of my mentors, Jean-Jacques Taylor, told me, sports are fluid. What's true today might not be true tomorrow. So I can change my mind, but as of right now, all aboard the Tegan Quintariano train. Yeah, it's empty. Definitely can't get in the HOV lane unless Stutz is actually honest with you and tells him the truth. But as of right now, I'm riding for 1, and I can't get in the HOV lane. Quintariano is not Kahale Waring. He's already made some plays. Let's not be crazy and throw him out there just yet when it comes to that. The play of practice. There was a worst play and there was a best play of practice that we'll get to in a sec. First, though, I got to ask DeMeco Ryans about the rat poison. Didn't really answer the question directly, but I basically just wanted to know, you talk a lot about rat poison. You talk about buying hype. Was there ever a point in your career where you put that to practice? This was DeMeco's kind of answer to that. It's more general, but I do think it's a good mindset and some philosophical stuff from the head coach of Houston Texans.
Talked a lot about hype, rat poison, all that. Do you remember a point in your career when you were able to actually put that to practice? You talk about not believing the hype, not eating the rat poison, all that. Do you remember a point in your career where you were able to actually do that?
When we talk about expectations for the season and what that means, it all starts internally for each and every guy on the field. Like, what do you expect for yourself? And that's what I asked our guys yesterday. It's not about what people say on the outside. That doesn't change who you are. It's about who you think you are. What do you think you can achieve and accomplish as a player? Right. That's the only thing that matters to me. And the expectations are always driven internally. So if our guys think high of themselves, we'll go high. And that's how I want guys thinking.
All right, there you go. That's DeMeco Ryans talking about that. By the way, he got asked for an update on the roof. And I was like, what do you think? What do you think this guy's done? You don't think he's got enough to do? He's got to oversee a defense. He's got to oversee an offense. He's got a 5-month-old. You expect him to work on the damn roof? DeMeco Ryans going to give us an update on the roof? The hell was that? No idea. What the heck that was. Someone says John Lopez's new name is Pimp J. I don't even know what that means. That seems kind of weird. Is that like, is he like trying to act down or like what does that even mean? I have no idea what that is. That's kind of a weird nickname. Still have Brevin for the last year of his rookie deal till he's a free agent. Yes, we do. And he's going to be trying to earn that contract. They seem to like him. Yeah, already went over this, but does Kenyon Green look different after that? Yeah, he's clearly in much better shape, for sure. Who asked the roof question? I think it was Stradley. I think Stradley asked for an update on the roof from DeMeco, and it like even the PR was like, "The hell is going on here?" He was nice about it, but yeah, what if he would have like been like, "Well, you know, we just ordered the parts from Home Depot and the cost is going to be this, and we've already spoken with the insurance company. So yeah, that's where the update on the roof is. Brandon H., the McNairs already out more money into the office and weight room than Chiefs owner ever has. Yeah, Nick Caserio actually brought that up. They've actually already upgraded that. Cal and Hannah are great, man. Like the thing about them is that they're willing to, like, if there's a bad contract or if there's someone that's like bad in the building, they're willing to take the loss. Like they don't, like, money will not determine their personnel and putting the best product out there. Like you can't say that about every organization. Like a lot of times they'll be like, well, it's cheaper to get rid of this instead of that. The McNairs don't do that. The McNairs looked at Bill O'Brien's contract, said, well, you know, you got to go. Same thing with Coley and Lovie Smith. They're willing to do that. Not everyone's willing to do that. We're kind of fortunate to have that with the McNairs. They haven't always spent their money wisely, but they've been willing to cut their their losses. No energy vampires. Hannah has goat status. Make a statue. Yeah, that would be hilarious. What would the pose of the statue be with Hannah? Would it be like the sweep? What would we be doing? That would be kind of funny though if she made a statue for herself. Though, don't you think that would be a little bit interesting? So best play. And by the way, be sure to like the video, subscribe, right along. Here's what we're going to do. We'll do the night stream tonight at 10:30. We'll listen to what Nico Collins had to say. Tomorrow we'll do Podium Critic. I'll do a drop at 9 with CJ, then 10 with Will Anderson. We'll also have a drop as well. So we'll have 3 drops tomorrow on top of the live practice update. So we're going to do the Jacoby Jones tribute courtesy of Caserio and DeMeco. And then we'll do a Will Anderson, CJ Stroud, the best things they had to say. So be on the lookout for that. The Podium Critic is alive and well. The live stream is alive and well. Shout out to everyone who came over here from Seth's spot. I don't know when Stutes is going to go live. I think he should go live at 1:30. I think we should just keep it going. But who knows? I don't know what he's up to. I'll ask him, when you going live? And we'll see how that goes. But the play of practice. Can you guys guess who made the play of practice? You're asking about Chris Reed. I'm not going that far on this day. I did not even, my eyes did not intentionally look at Chris Reed, to be honest with you. So, yeah, did not see that. No rain during the day. It was a lovely day for sure. Colin Gillespie, God, that was crazy. You already know. You're already calling it. Tank Dell. So it was the first play of 7-on-7. CJ Stroud, Tank Dell in the slot. I think he was in the slot. He was to CJ's left, just runs up the seam. CJ hits him. Tank Dell slides down, probably about an 18-yard gain, just real smooth with it. Gets up, probably in a game would have pointed, little first down action. That was the best play of the day. That was in 7-on-7. The other guys were making plays, but that was definitely the best one. The next play, he overshot Nico in the back right corner of the end zone, and then there was a dump down to Joe Mixon. So that's where that was as far as that worst play. Do y'all know who made the worst play? Has that already made the rounds? Have the observation. Shout out D Nice. Nice seeing you, my friend. It was not Nico. It was Tank. Can y'all guess? I don't know if this is good. He's the next Antonio Brown. Ooh, that means a lot there, D Nice. That means a lot there. You say Antonio Brown, you say AB. One of the best receivers in recent history. I think he's a Hall of Fame caliber. But when you say you're the next Antonio Brown, I don't know what the hell that means. That can mean a lot of stuff. So Dell and Stroud, they made the play of practice. Worst play of practice was, can you guess? Wasn't a turnover, but it would have been a hell of a loss. And the good thing about practice now, for those of you that are going out there, they showed the replay a few times now. It's kind of sick. So on the screen, they're showing it multiple times from multiple angles. There was a bad snap from Juice Scruggs to CJ Stroud. Kind of, which was it? I think it was his right shoulder, a little bit high. Not quite over the head, but pretty close. Not the best snap. CJ kind of grabbed it. He might have actually been able to, like, the old Tony Romo / Brett Favre scoop and throw it away type of thing, but not a good snap by Juice there. He's huge about it. He looks like he's put on some weight too, as well. And he was getting a lot of work at center. How'd Mixon and the other RBs look? Mixon looks good. I'm intrigued by Brooks. He's freaking huge. Damian Pierce looks trim, but I think I'm predicting this, like at the Hall of Fame game, which is less than 2 weeks away. I do think that Brooks is going to be the thumper that everybody's talking about. There's always like that running back that you fall in love with in the preseason. I think Brooks might have a little something. It happens, man. It happens. I mean, it was a fumble, but it wouldn't have been a turnover. He's fine. We don't need to bring back Dieter. Come on, you're trolling now. Yeah, Dieter's too sweaty. He's got too much butt sweat for CJ. But that was the worst play. There was a Scruggs snap. Nothing big, nothing massive. I mean, that type of stuff will happen. Rookies, a lot of people want to talk about rookies. No rookies really stood out, except I thought it was interesting to see Fisher getting some work with the ones. Now, if Tunsil's not playing or anything like that, that's interesting, but they had him at left tackle. We know that he was recruited as a left tackle at Notre Dame, ended up moving over to the right side, but Tunsil wasn't there. Don't know if this would have been the case in a game, but Fisher was getting some work with the ones. That's number one. Number two, Cade Stover. Again, I'm just always fascinated by someone who doesn't wear gloves. And his farmer ass is probably just the perfect example of someone who can pull that off. I don't think everyone can pull off the no glove look, but Cade Stover with like the sleeve tat and stuff like that, it didn't look too crazy, man. Y'all are already trying to fire Juice Scruggs over one bad snap, man. Diggs routes are insanely awesome. It's a joy to watch Stephon Diggs, especially the outs and all that. Really, Diggs kind of stayed underneath for the most part. They weren't really just like completely airing it out, but yeah, he's a badass for sure. Titus did practice. He was full go. He was with the ones. He was holding down that right side. Looked like he's in shape. Didn't have any limitations. Wasn't on the PUP list. So Titus, we did get to see Titus Howard out there. Payne said Metch looked good in practice. I mean, he didn't look bad, but it wasn't like anything. I didn't like look at him. I thought Noah Brown looked good. Woods looked okay. Diggs looked awesome. Dell looked awesome. Nico looked all right. Pretty good. He didn't look bad, but I didn't think that Mechie looked like amazing or anything like that. And again, the observations are different. Like when you're at a practice, here's the thing. I've done shows with someone and I'm like, I don't know what practice you were watching. Like I have no idea what you were watching, but that's okay because there's different observations. Different people see different things, different types of ways. But yeah, if Seth said he looked good, maybe he was paying more attention to Metch. Maybe there was something that I missed, but I didn't really see him stick out. Noah Brown, I thought looked pretty damn good, to be honest with you. I think he's going to make. I mean, I think he's a lock, and we have the other three, and then we'll see what happens with Woods. That's going to be something to look at. What is linebacker depth looking like? Man, I think it's a big topic. I just don't know if it's like a topic that has kind of evolved after day one, if that makes sense. And there's observations, but I don't think it's. I think it's too early, especially with the nature of this practice. I think once they put on the pads, it'll be a lot easier to notice it, because once they put on the pads, that was when we started seeing Blake Cashman kind of stick out last year. And if you were listening to the channel, I said, man, this might be their best line. Like, he's pretty good. And we thought he was just kind of a special teamer. But once the pads come on, I think we'll get a nice mix of the linebackers and what they're doing. Nico looked all right. Starting 5-0 line, I guess it's going to be Tunsil. I don't know at left guard. I have no idea. That Kenyon Green was out there and he looked pretty good, to be honest with you. I think Juice is going to start at center, and then I think it's going to be Shaq, and then it's going to be obviously Titus. Kenyon Green was out there. I mean, they were rotating, but Kenyon Green, it looked like, was out there with the ones. Raul said he was taking a lunch break, but was listening with the headphones the whole time. Appreciate you, brother. And this will be the time for practices that are at 9 a.m. The 12:30 live stream. We'll still have the 10:30, the nightcap. We'll get into what Nico had to say today, and just get into the state of the receivers. Autry, Hunter, how did they look? I didn't really notice Autry, to be honest with you. I just really wasn't really focused in on him. Hunter's huge. I mean, he is a big dude. Like you look at Will Anderson, who's up to 263 from 248, and you look at Daniil Hunter. I mean, the edge guys are freaking massive. So I liked what I saw from Hunter. But yeah, it's all about interpretation, man. Like I don't like if you saw something that I didn't see, all I can promise you is I'm not going to fake like seeing stuff, and I'm not going to fake being prepared. I'm not going to fake stuff like that. So it's really just I'm watching as best I can. Seth's watching as best he can. Stutes is watching as best he can. Pendergast has his notes. There's different types of observations. These are mine, man. Everyone was wearing that. It's interesting. You talk about the mushroom on the helmet. Everybody, a lot of guys were wearing that, and it actually doesn't look as stupid as I thought it would. And I found myself looking at it, and I'm like, okay, there's some guys who probably don't want to do this, but I was looking at CJ Stroud, and I was like, man, I kind of want him to. I wouldn't mind him wearing the Mario Kart Toad mushroom hat on his helmet just for protection. It didn't look as stupid as I thought it would. But again, it's about safety. And I do wonder, like in the game, how many guys are going to wear that. I feel like Noah Brown is as much of a lock as the top three guys due to the wild chemistry he and CJ had during broken plays. Dude, I agree. I mean, in Noah Brown, 2-week stretch was one of the best receivers in the NFL. I mean, it sounds crazy, but it's true. Like there was 2 weeks where it was like, okay, yeah, it was interesting. Do you think Woods will make the team? I think that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. If he does, then the Mechie situation will be interesting. Will me and Seth ever go live together? I don't know. I mean, we might just kind of piggyback off of each other. He goes live, then I go live, and then Stutes goes live. I mean, the digital game kind of goes that way. How was the overall vibe? Was everyone locked in? Yeah, the vibe's nice. They're confident. They don't seem like a team that's too satisfied with what went down last year. Speaking of which, CJ Stroud, he was at the podium. Here was what CJ Stroud had to say about his offseason. And I actually asked him about it because the last time that CJ Stroud was talking about the offseason, he's like, man, I haven't had much downtime. I'm looking forward to downtime. I'm looking forward to relaxing. And I'll be damned. Every time I go on social media, he's in a different country or he's doing a different thing and he's being active, which is good. But I asked CJ Stroud, did you get what you wanted out of this offseason? Because it seemed like you were doing a hell of a lot. Here was what CJ Stroud had to say about that.
You said you wanted some time off. First time you're going to have some in a long time heading into the offseason. Were you able to relax? Was it busy? How would you summarize your first NFL offseason?
Yeah, a little bit of both, you know. I had some time to sit down and sit with fam and really just enjoy some days. And my mom's house is on her couch chilling, which I haven't got to do since high school. And also, you know, I got to have my teammates come to LA, went to Miami, through with some guys here in Houston, and really had some great throwing sessions with those guys. So, you know, it's been a multitude of both. You know, I think it was a successful one. And it was my first one, so I can learn from this. And now next year have more of an idea on how that goes in the offseason.
Texas added your Ohio State brother in Jeff Okudah.
And that was a great Chancellor Johnson with the question about Okudah, who looked pretty decent today. And you know what? You talk about like jersey numbers, and we're talking about like body transformations and all that type of stuff. Okudah can pull off 11. Okudah can pull off 11 at corner. I think he can pull it out. I don't know if he's going to ball or not. There's probably going to be some it's going to be an interesting uphill battle. If I had to bet, I would say he's going to be CB2. CJ said that he just needed a change of scenery and all that, and they missed each other by a year. But I think Okudah can definitely pull off number 11. He can definitely do his thing. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. They're probably going to intensify things a little bit. Who knows? There's talk that there's talk that maybe there'll be rain and maybe they'll go inside. And the indoor practices they're always a little bit more compact. That they work on red zone a little bit there. But Okudah can definitely pull off 11. But most disappointing thing, I didn't get to see my damn kick return drills, but that's going to happen. And will Mike Meltzer get a random invite to join the stream? Yeah, he'll be on. Just a matter of really when. CJ got to go to mom's couch and chill a bit. Man, is there anything better than that when you're just like laying on the couch? Like whether it's college, hell, even now, man. Like even like pushing 40 in the 30s, you're like, man, you just get to lay on the couch. I think couch naps are kind of underrated. I don't know how y'all feel about the couch nap. Some people can't nap, and I'm like, man, how can you not nap? The thing about nap time, there's some things in life that you don't appreciate when you're young, and then when you get older, you're like, damn, dude, why I would kill for that. Nap time is one of them. You remember how much of a fit you used to throw, like in kindergarten? Oh, nap time, oh my god! And then the teachers would get pissed at you for being nuts and all that type of stuff. Yeah, it was interesting. Press critic coming in with good questions. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to ask questions that they haven't been asked. But we'll see how that goes. As it goes on, there'll be less and less people. But yeah, Okudah definitely has to prove it for sure. Henderson was playing some special teams. I didn't really notice him on defense. Again, there wasn't a touchdown. Today there wasn't like a turnover. The closest thing to a turnover was the high snap from Juice. But CJ Henderson, he was there. I mean, and I'm not saying that like disrespectfully. I'm just saying like he didn't look bad. But I thought it was interesting. He was blocking the gunner on special teams. So maybe that's how that goes. I can't nap because it turned into a full sleep. There ain't no lie on that. Are the Texans joint practice going to be in Houston or away? The Rams are going to be here. So that'll be fun. We'll have coverage of that as well. Those are the most fun. And you kind of have the McVay pipeline type of thing, much like how we had McDaniel last year, the McVay pipeline type of thing. Couch naps are solid, but I prefer to doze off on the couch then move to the bed for a full ass bed nap. Best midday sleep around. Yeah, but here's my thing. Like I can sleep 5 hours on a couch and I just don't feel as guilty as I do if I'm sleeping on the bed. Like it's almost like it's pathetic because it's the same, like you're doing the same thing, but I feel like, man, I'm not really being as lazy here. Yeah, couch naps. Like that. Rich boy Jay, off topic. Well, hey, there's nothing off topic around here. If you haven't noticed, I'm sitting here blabbing about couch naps in the middle of my camp observations. Kind of off topic, but does going to NRG feel special to you? I definitely feel that way when I go to an event or pass it driving on 60. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of memories. And I even think like in just this small sample size, I think if we saw how low things got around there to where, I mean, I was giving away 200 tickets a week because no one wanted to go. So it's kind of like an opportunity for people to go to games, and some people were turning them down. And there was no excitement. There was no buzz. There was no trust in the organization. You go from that to where they are now in a very short-ish time too. Like you can be in football hell. Trust me, especially when you get that low, you can be in that football hell for a lot longer than 2 years. We're actually pretty lucky that they got that bad and they turned it around this quick. A lot of people deserve credit. There's some luck in there. But you probably, when that type of stuff happens, football hell would, and probably should last a little bit longer. So yeah, I definitely like, you know, when I pull up to the stadium and I'm walking, you know, onto the where the camp is. I mean, you kind of think back and you're like, damn, man, remember David Culley, like not even knowing where to stand? Remember Bill O'Brien just clearly messed us up. Remember Jack Easterby going around and high-fiving guys as they kind of rolled their eyes as he walked by him. And now you just got DeMeco walking around. You got CJ, you got Will Anderson, you got all these veterans. It's crazy. So it'll be interesting. Do I think British Brooks could be RB2? No, I think Dameon Pierce is RB2. They obviously love Dameon Pierce. I am intrigued by British Brooks, man. He's a big mofo. I think we're going to get, there might be, I talked about the Quitoriano train, which, by the way, still no one in it, just me. I think British Brooks, after the Hall of Fame game, there could be like some people that are pretty willing to jump on that train. I think there's a possibility. That's going to be really interesting to see which running back gets that. Can we expect an all-pro season from John Wicks? How do they judge that? Like the deep snapper thing? Like, do they get out a stopwatch and measure it? Like, because you don't see a lot of bad snaps. I know Weeks has made a Pro Bowl. How do they decide that? How does that get decided with the Pro Bowl of a deep snapper? He'll probably kill me for saying that, but hey, it is what it is. He'll be on the stream sometime. He's focused being hardo right now. And also the respect to people who the power situation, everything like that. A lot of people have Woods not making the team. Thoughts? I think it's going to be interesting to see. Honestly, but my thing is this: like, I thought if he wasn't going to make the team, I figured that decision would have been made now. Like, do they need to see something from Mechie? Do they need to see if he still has some gas in the tank? They don't need to save money. I was talking about this yesterday. I think it was Jonathan Alexander. Shout out to Jonathan Alexander, Houston Chronicle. And he's like, well, they could save money. They don't need money. They have enough cap space. It's going to expire after this year. So yeah, I don't really see that. Would rather watch the game at home. Hard to see everything. Yeah, I think there's a good mix of it. I like being at home, especially with the stream and stuff like that. But I also don't like hanging out with all the media types. No disrespect to them. It's fine. I don't have anything. I just don't. We're eating food and we're good, man. We can see each other at practice, for sure. But I do enjoy going to games, being in the stands, tailgating, and all that. Wait until a couple more comments before I get out of here. By the way, Cody Stutes is going live at 4. He's getting the writing done. If you don't subscribe to his writing, you need to. It's very much worth it. I heard Sean and Seth actually on the way in talking about his awesome article that he just put out. It's the best. I think it's the best form of written word that you can get. But I might be a little bit biased, but honestly, I'm not, because if it sucked, I would say it sucked. Wait until you get older and cut out salt. I don't really like salt. I don't hate salt, and I know I eat food that has salt on it, but I'm never a grab the salt shaker and put it on. I've never done that. I don't even do that when I can probably eat like 5 baskets of chips at a Mexican restaurant. I'm not really throwing the salt on there. I won't. I'll eat it if you do, but that's not really my thing. Just came from Whataburger with a number 5 no tomato with a root beer. You went root beer? I didn't even know Whataburger had root beer. It's always like Diet Dr. Pepper, Diet Coke, tea, Blue Powerade, some sort of Fanta, and then lemonade. What kind of root beer do they have? Is it Barks? I don't know. I don't hate root beer. I used to love it, but it's not really something that I drink. But I didn't even know that Whataburger had root beer. I guess it makes sense because they have root beer floats, don't they? The train, yes. The Quitoriano. I am high on Quitoriano and Townsend. So all aboard if you want to get in.
High-grade marijuana called Kush on the streets. Did you know what that was?
Now I do.
Me neither.
H.O., shout out to H.O., not calling you a hoe, just reading the initials. Brevin in the backfield as a fullback would be interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting because you'd probably get your running back killed. Now, I mean, if you're having him go out of the backfield and catch the rock, maybe, but I don't think you want him blocking for the running back or the quarterback in the backfield. Starting to wonder how friendly Caserio and DeMeco are being to these guys hanging around. They could easily go to other teams. Could be team building, but could then just be a nice man. But I don't know. I think that's going to start to shape up. The Robert Woods situation is something that will not go away. Did y'all think it was weird that Caserio randomly mentioned Yannick Ngakoue? Now, I know he's just talking about guys, but they asked about free agents, and he's like, yeah, we brought this dude in, but, and you look at other guys like Yannick Ngakoue, and I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, like, this is obviously Madden, EA Sports, it's in the game type of stuff, but I was like, the hell is he mentioning Yannick Ngakoue from? That was kind of strange. Diet, come on, Landry. I think diet sodas taste better than regular sodas. It's not like when I'm going to Whataburger and I'm ordering a number 2 Whata size and a couple tenders or whatever, or maybe even throwing in a taquito if it's 11. I'm not thinking about my figure or anything like that. But I think diet sodas taste better. Root beer is mid. Barks root beer. Okay, so it's Barks. For sure. It would be interesting if you're trying to get your running back killed, the Brevin Jordan thing. Yes. I agree that Stutz is the best print source in H-Town. Yeah, I don't even think it's close. He has a real good grasp. He does a good job of attacking topics, all that. For sure. Diet Red Bulls are the best. God. Coke Zero Cherry. Sure, whatever. Appreciate everyone for coming through. We'll still do the 10:30 stream. Probably going to be a little bit shorter. Again, 12:30 live throughout practice. It's going to be fun. It's going to be good times. These have been the observations with some nap takes, some soda takes, and other takes sprinkled in. Always remember, be sure to subscribe, like, right along. But most importantly, always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, especially in the digital game, we are all in it together. Hit the music, face.
Opinions to give without takeaways. If it's up, then it's up. We number 1. You don't need to try your luck. Locker room, yeah, we in the locker room. Texas talk, yeah, you know what we about to do. Localize, every angle's what we really do. We the source, we the pulse of the city too.